But let's get to it. Let's get to it, man. Well, listen. I'll start off with the 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I got the man, the myth, the legend, my brother, no, my blood brother, no, my soul brother, Shawn the Sage, my guy. Welcome to the show, Brody.
Thank you for having me. It's been a minute.
Man.
It's been a minute.
If you guys don't know who this man is, you gotta check episode 10 because this man is making a return. This is a part 2. Also, this is the first ever recorded Internal Battle podcast episode. And we got the cameras all set up here. You know what I mean? Yo, Shawn, shout out to Shawn because this was Shawn's idea for coming up with this idea. And I was so excited about it. I was like, yo, it'd be dope to like record it. And if you guys knew how much that went into trying to set up this scene, you have no idea. Just know that we basically, like you said, been up for almost 24 hours for the most part. But
shout out to you for being willing to just go with it too.
Bro, I've been telling you all day, I've been saying like every time you like I'm around you, bro, like creativity just starts, you start bringing that out of me. So it's always nice to see your creative process and like how you maneuver through how you get your things correct and the lighting good and sound quality good. It was a blast, man. It took a while to get this episode set up, but we doing it. We here. So, man, Shawn, I'm excited. Listen, welcome to Sunshine State.
Thank you, bro.
Florida. Thanks for visiting me. We got the wine on deck as usual.
Yeah, that's your staple, bro.
Bro, back in the days, every time I did a podcast with someone who was a guest, I always had wine. I feel like a wine company needs to like sponsor me for these episodes. You know what I mean?
Can I make a suggestion?
Of course.
I think you should, like on some daytime vibes, do the tea, and then the nighttime vibe, do the wine.
Of course. I'm more of a wine guy. You know what I mean? The red wine specifically. I don't know who out here likes white wine, but
it's a vibe. It's a vibe. It depends. You gotta do the daytime.
It definitely. I feel like white wine is like a daytime vibe.
Yeah.
Dinner and stuff like that. Red wine and all. But listen, Shawn, man, I'm glad you came out, man. It's a pleasure. You're the first guest on this new season that I got to do this in person with, and I think one of my favorite things about this podcast is doing them in person. Because it's more intimate that way. And we get to really conversate versus it just being over a computer screen. With this pandemic and everything that's been going on, it hasn't been the easiest way to go about meeting up with people and doing things in person. And, listen, technology is here for a reason, and that's why we're able to do these things. But my true love is to do it in person, see the person I'm sitting across from, have a glass of wine. It's my favorite, man.
Yeah.
So it's a pleasure for you to be here, to fly out to Florida and do this episode, man. I'm excited.
It had to be done, bro.
It had to be. We had to come back with a part 2, But for those who don't know you, Shawn, if they haven't seen the last episode that we did, which is episode 10, definitely check that out. Describe yourself, a little bit of who you are, so my listeners get a taste of who, what you bring into this world.
Yeah, they'll now know me as Shawn the Sage. This is your first time being introduced to me.
Mm-hmm.
Hip-hop artist and screenwriter based in New York. And I like to get creative, man. Like, I want to try different things. I want to do different things. And I feel like, if you know me, man, I started with music.
Yeah.
That's
my first time. How it all started.
That's my first time picking up a pen. And it's crazy, not a lot of people know that.
Not a lot of people do.
You know that. Some folks from high school know that because I'll do the ciphers. I'll do it for fun. I fake had like a freestyle or two.
Yeah.
But bro, when I was 18, I gave it up. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna pursue fiction.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pursue fiction writing. And I remember thinking like, it was fun. I still like to write it here and there on the side. I was like, nah, it's not me no more.
Yeah.
I put that aside for 8 years, bro. And then full circle, 8 years later, come back. It's surreal, bro. Like, I really feel like I'm reliving some childhood dreams, like aspiring for that, but then seeing how it can link up with my other aspirations.
My first question, a better question to start off is, what was that moment? You know, because you've done the screenwriting, you've done the fiction writing, and now it's music.
Yeah.
Right? So when was that shift when you were like, I'm gonna do music?
My therapist told me, she asked me a question. She said, when's the last time you wrote for yourself? This was in 2020, and I was sitting here for a few months, and we got into some real, unpacking.
Yeah.
I believe in therapy is you get from it what you put into it.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
You know, when you're reflective, when you're genuine and wanting the results and wanting to better yourself, you'll do the work. And I'm going to do the work. But this all came about from us talking. I'm in LA. I'm writing. I'm not working industry-related jobs. I had a few industry-related jobs here and there, but for the most part, it was just me tutoring or freelancing, finding gigs, whatever, just to survive and be out there and still be able to write, like fitting that in my schedule.
Yeah.
And even though everything I write comes from the heart, not to be on some, something corny.
Yeah.
But it's true.
Yeah.
Like I'm genuine in everything I'm trying to say.
I believe.
My story, I'm trying to come with some originality, but there's still what you're trying to achieve in the back of your mind is you're trying to get somebody to buy this thing.
Yeah. So
as much as I'm writing this story for my, getting my emotions out, or because I feel like this is a story that needs to be told, it's still reliant on somebody saying, hey, I validate that story. I want to be invested in this and help you bring it to the next level and get this thing made. And it's a beauty in collaboration and all that. But at the same time, it's like, oh, wow, okay. But when's the last time I just picked up a pen and wrote a poem? I could not, bro. And when she asked me that, I'm just like, I couldn't answer. I'm just like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
And she brought up music. Like, when was the last time you wrote some music? It's like, yo, outside of some characters of the script, which was still fun for me and still practice to write in another perspective, I could answer that question. And I'm just like, but I fake be having the thoughts of making that project that I never made.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to me.
That's beautiful.
Like, knowing my ability and knowing, it's like, yo, I never even tried to make the project. I never tried to make an EP. I never made the mixtape I was supposed to make in high school. I did some freestyles and I never made that mixtape.
And it's something that you always wanted to do. It was like in the back burner.
I had to do it. It was the first dream for real. It was the first dream. I remember being a kid still writing stories, but that was the first dream. And then it went to fiction, and then went to screenwriting, which I don't regret because it's pursuing the pen and it helped inform the artist I am today and what I'm trying to achieve in all these spaces.
Yeah.
But I abandoned that. But now coming back to that, it feels so fulfilling because now I'm facing those same anxieties that kept me from pursuing it in the first place.
Right. What do you think those anxieties were back then? Like, what made you not want to pursue it at that time? And because your first outlet was fiction.
Yeah.
Fiction writing. So what made you shy away from making music the first time originally? Yeah.
Well, my first outlet I would say would still be, because I remember being 10 years old and writing my first rap in my notebook.
Oh, man.
I remember being 6 years old and my mom blocking me at BET because I was reciting raps. But I'm 6 years old, bro, and I'm like, I know this is what I want.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm coming home from school watching Rap City. I'm reciting Talib Kweli and Nas, bro. Like, that's not the most normal thing. I don't
No.
But fiction, the first thing I pursued seriously. Sorry, repeat your question one more time.
So, doing music, I guess at the time where
what were my anxieties?
Exactly. What was your what made you not want to continue pursuing it and switch to fiction?
Ooh, a few things. One, I had performance anxiety.
That's a huge one.
Yeah, the idea of making music is the easy thing. Back then, I couldn't fathom getting on a stage and doing it because I couldn't even do public speaking. But that was like, sort of, I don't know. But then on the back of that, there's what people would think. There's criticism from your parents that
Yeah.
don't understand that world, and then from other family members that might not understand that world, from other people that might not understand that world, that goal. And yeah, there's anxiety and fear around that. But then, oh, I could do something with fiction, with poetry. That's a little more acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
That's, oh, I can go to college for this. I'm going to college. I fell for that.
Yeah.
I fell for that. Which, great, because I learned some craft.
You learned a lot, yeah.
I learned screenwriting and all that, and I genuinely loved what I was able to do and learn. But there was on the back of my head, like, if I didn't do that, and I was 18, and I said, nah, I just want to do this music thing, I would have found a way somehow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't regret it because that's how it had to happen for
it's
me.
almost
But,
insane.
Like,
how like it happened that way, because it's like the music, it was almost like it wasn't ready yet. Though you're still sick with the pen, don't get me wrong. But it's like, it almost seems like those other outlets that you had to go down is what's honing that music now. Because now you're even better, like you've evolved even more now. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's actually pretty interesting. And I'm curious to know, like, from now if we're moving, with the timeline, now transitioning from fiction writing to screenwriting, was music still kind of in the back of your mind?
Hell yeah. It's funny, when my professor asked me one time in my thesis class, they're like, he was just basically saying, yo, when you write these scripts, you gotta bring something to the table that nobody else does. Like some flair, some spice.
Yeah.
And then I write a lot of musical stuff. So I'm writing like a hip hop. I'm hesitant to call it a musical because of the idea of musicals people think of
a musical,
but in a real sense, it is. You know?
Yeah.
But it was a story that follows, a rapper and his dead friend and lucid dreaming and all that stuff. If they want to know more about it, they could check out the website.
Well, I'll put it in the show notes for sure.
And then I'm writing a hip hop script, and I'm writing the lyrics to it. Through the characters that have specific aspirations, that have a specific perspective.
Right.
So you're writing from perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still taking it, like, I'm still listening to beats online. That's how I write, you know what I mean? I'm still coming up with ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And then seeing which one fits. Like, I'm still approaching it like I'm this character trying to write this rap. But how does this fit in the scenery? Visually, what does this look like? Like, you're really trying to do something innovative in that way. But he asked me the question, like, what do you think is that for you? This is before I started writing the lyrics to the thing. 'Cause I just had the idea. I wasn't sure if I wanted to write the lyrics just yet. For whatever reason. And then I was like, yo, rap. Rap. What you could do better than anybody else. That's what we're getting back to.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yo, I could probably rap better than I could write scripts.
Mm-hmm. So then it just hits you like, oh, rap is really it after that therapy session.
Oh no, so this was before therapy, bro. So therapy was like 2020, so this is like 2018. Fall 2018. And I was just like, oh, okay, nah, I could really go all in on this hip hop cinema blend, like the story that I was doing.
Right.
But that's when just going back to that sentiment, and like when me doing music now, it is more instinctive. It is, honestly, it's easier for me.
Yeah, it seems like it is.
Yeah.
We haven't been talking about your music yet. We're gonna get into it.
Yeah.
But like, from what I've heard, it seems natural. It seems like you're in your element.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so one of the biggest things that we talk about a lot, right, and I definitely want to discuss this topic with you, is the idea of imposter syndrome, right? Now, being that everything has come in full circle, do you still ever feel that, like, man, like, am I supposed to be a screenwriter? Am I supposed to be a fiction writer? Is the rapping outlet, like, something for me? Like, is that something internally that you feel like you face at times, especially when you're doing the music?
Not when I'm really into it, man.
That's good.
Cause I don't think about that stuff when I'm really into it. I'm in creative mode. I don't think about anything else. I'm zoned in. There are the times where the anxiety takes over and you do start thinking about those things, more so for the music. Be like, yo, what am I doing? Say, yo, I'm about to turn 27. I'm on this shit late.
I wouldn't say it's late, bro. I think saying something is late is a not the best way to look at it. I think by looking at it in like I came at the right time, because I guess just my view is like you are where you are because you're supposed to go through what you have to go through to get to where you are. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I get it though. That's like a common thing to think about, right? Like, oh, I'm too late, you know. So I 100% resonate with you on that, because there's a lot of areas in life where we think that. I know I think that a lot, you know, and it's like, man, is it too late? Like, am I making the wrong move right now? Is it too late to make this move? And so some of those thoughts have been going through your mind.
Yeah, man. When I'm not locked in, it's like
when you're not locked in.
And honestly, one time I can really say I'm locked in when I'm doing the work. But when you're on the move and you're overthinking things and you're listening to something for the 100th time and like, you don't like my voice or whatever, these thoughts come in. It's like, yo, I'm old for this. Because I'm thinking like I could have been 18 doing this.
You're right.
But then I look honestly at some other rappers like, oh, Jay-Z started at 26, bro. When I started, but Reasonable Doubt was 26. Which means the GOAT. What am I talking about?
Exactly.
Someone told me like, yo, you know how old Fabio is? But nah, niggas in his 30s.
It really is about perspective.
Bro, it's perspective.
That's what it is.
I looked up Davey because Davey's hard as hell. I'm like, yo, how old is this nigga? When did he start? It's just the idea. When did his first project come out? And from what my research, maybe like maybe 2015 or 14, something like that. He's like 33 now, 34 or something like that. And it's like, oh, okay, so he started around this time.
Age is a state of mind. It's a state of mind.
So I'm like, what am I talking about? So
right.
I snap out of that. But it's knowing to snap out of it. Like those thoughts are gonna be there.
Exactly. So I was gonna ask, how do you usually kind of quiet those voices? Because they are there.
Yeah.
So what do you do to help yourself to, I guess, quiet that noise?
Walks.
Like the walk we had today? Oh man, I forgot how liberating a walk is.
Beautiful. That's one thing I miss about LA is the weather, being able to just go walk wherever. But I'll still go for walks when it's breakout.
Yeah.
Wintertime, New York, whatever. I'm not out there for as long, but like I'm going for a walk. Meditation.
Meditation. I've been telling you.
Like that's just like it has to happen.
That's just something that just has to happen. I agree.
Yeah. And then reading, but like certain types of things coming at certain times when you really need it.
What's a good book that you would recommend?
Stillness is the Key. Ryan Holiday. Just recommended that to my brother. Great book, man. Great anecdotes.
Yeah.
Amazing anecdotes, bro.
Stillness is the Key.
Stillness is the Key. Ryan Holiday. And I like Ryan Holiday a lot.
He has some really good books. He has a book, Obstacle is the Way. And I think he has Ego is the Enemy.
That's the first one I read from him.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got some gems. He got some gems,
man. And stillness is the key. It's really about finding that stillness in everyday life. But like, the anecdotes give examples of people finding that stillness in different ways, whether it be a habit or whatever. Like people overcoming vices. Like one of the first anecdotes is about John F. Kennedy during the Cuban Missile Crisis, then like just what he would write himself in his notes in those meetings of crisis. And I hope I'm not misremembering this, but it would be like doodles or like I forgot the same word over and over again, something like that. But he's like, yo, here's a man that we're on the possibly the brink of, world destruction. You know what I mean? Like we talk about some serious warfare.
Yeah, exactly.
Weapons of mass destruction here. And we talking about days and like about the aim, but then how it got all resolved over a letter that he sent them, and man's realizing, yo, our ego is in the way. but also just the idea of in the stressful times, this man was still finding moments to make it light. You know what I mean? That's just an example. You know, he talked about Winston Churchill, who like did all these things. He was a prime minister in the UK, and then he was a war general, and he's a painter that painted over 3,000 paintings or something crazy like that. But one of his hobbies was bricklayering. So the man that was always busy, always on the move, but he's like, nah, he was very routine. He's like, nah, I need my hour of bricklayering.
Yeah.
I need to do my painting. I need to do this. You know? So that's a great book. That's great anecdotes. He pulls a lot from Stoicism.
You're into Stoicism?
I have been in the past few months, man. That and Buddhism.
For sure.
I view Buddhism as a philosophy.
Yeah.
And
I know you're a big meditator too, right? Yeah. So for you, when you meditate, I know overall there's an overall reason why people meditate, right? But for you, I know for me, when I meditate, one of the main goals I have with meditating is becoming closer to like my soul. Now for you, when you meditate, what's that for you? Are you trying to like ease anxiety? Are you trying to like me be closer to your soul or find that stillness? What is that for you?
So meditation for me is definitely called calming down anxiety. It's about being present, man. Like,
yeah,
it's funny. I do want to tap in a little bit more. Like how we were talking about earlier, we were talking about, you know, universal signs.
Yeah.
And leaning into that. Right? Because I do believe there's a power. You tell your mind what to believe.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're hacking. To me, it's like there's a man's outside right here, which is me, and this whole being is just
it's that pure energy you. I swear I be talking about this all the time.
But also risk for me, it's like a character. Like even the idea that I could trick this character into believing whatever he wants to believe.
Exactly.
So even if it's me like, I don't know if I believe in God or this concept of God that I grew up with in Catholicism, but like the universe I believe in, you know what I mean? And
yeah, absolutely.
Energy, you know,
energy and universal truth.
Yeah. I'm just like, oh, but I couldn't lean into that. I could believe that, and like I could tell myself in terms of like letting that help me. You feel me? And there's nothing wrong with that. But for meditation, for me, so even though there was times I was really just tapped in that way, and to me it's more just like, yo, all I got is now.
Yeah.
How do I stay in the now? And that's all I care about. Like I'm not trying to focus on anything beyond my senses. And how we were talking about earlier, how people don't really use their five senses.
And they don't.
We're searching for something deeper than our five senses, but to search for something deeper than that, you have to use them.
Yeah.
Like you have to feel your breath. Can you hear your breath? Can you feel how, you know, the coolness entering and then the warmth exiting? How are you really hearing those birds?
Yo, bro, you spitting straight facts, bro. Because it's so true. Because I think I agree 100% because with meditation, you are trying to tap into like that pure coreness. And when you kind of submit to everything, like the sounds around you, the pressure like on your back touching the chair or your bottom touching the floor or something like that, like that's you really feeling all of those senses. And that's where you do find that stillness, that quiet, that space for you to tap into that true story of you, you know. And I think that's one of my favorite reasons of meditating, because of trying to get closer to, or like continually feeling that feeling, you know, of man, closer to myself, this stillness. And I think it's a beautiful thing. I think like the fact that you meditate, I'm sure it helps a lot.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
When did you know you wanted to do transcendental meditation?
So I've always heard of transcendental meditation. I think when I started getting into meditation in general, I was like looking up different ways, like how you meditate this way, mindfulness, binaural beats, guided meditation. And then I would hear transcendental meditation all the time. And I'm like, what is that? But every time I tried researching it, I find like the main website, but I would hear people talking about it like what it's done for them, but not how to do it. So then it kind of intrigued me a little bit. I was like, what are they hiding? Like what's going on? Like I want to know. And I think I ran into this guy on YouTube, and he was kind of like low key like telling the secrets of like how to do it. And it's nothing really big. I don't want to, even like say it so that it seems like I'm breaking rules or anything like that. Because I'm really looking into getting into transcendental meditation.
Knocking on your window.
Knocking on the door, on the wood,
Podcast,
listen, I'm not trying to get quoted and, I get a gun to my head or something. I don't know what kind of secret society that they got. But I'm very interested in doing it. And I know it's like 4 classes and then a celebration. You get a teacher and they give you a mantra. They give you your word, they call it.
Oh, yeah.
And so they give you your word, you work with them for the 4 days, and then you graduate. And after learning about that, it made me feel, and also just hearing the positive effects that everybody has gotten from transcendental meditation, that made me interested. And it stole my soul, basically. I'm like, all right, is this the closer I can get to me? Because it's just like what we were talking about, that stillness, right? This book, I can't remember the name right now off the top of my head, but it's about the practices of transcendental meditation and all the ancient monks and like Buddhist, Taoism, how they all basically explain transcendental meditation like in their own words. But the common denominator is that stillness, when you feel everything and nothing at the same time. And to me, that sounds like amazing. I just want to tap in to know what that is. I just believe in so much more than this physical embodiment that I'm in, this physical plane that I'm in. I just believe in so much further than that. You get me?
Yeah. What do you think happens with your consciousness after you die?
So that's a loaded question. But I guess this is my view on life after death is the more you pour into yourself while you're alive in this human body, I feel like the more conscious you are with your soul after you leave. Because you've been feeding it, you've been becoming partners with it, you've been able to talk to it, your true core, your true self. And I feel like you're just more awake, and you're able to travel the realms. I don't know. I can't give you an answer further than that, but I feel like the more you feed into your soul and nourish it while you're alive as a human being, the more conscious you are, or I guess the more you'll be able to live within the cosmos and kind of know about it.
Okay.
I don't know. I think that's just my view. What's your view?
My view is I don't know.
There's beauty in the unknowing.
Yeah, how people say somebody is with you and beyond it. Like, I mean, you shared me your story earlier.
Yeah. Shout out to Jem. I love you, Jem. I know you're here with me all the time. Rest in peace.
And I have family that passed. Uncle Kyle, rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
That's somebody I hear all the time, like still with us. And to me, I feel that, but not so much in like a spirit. Like, I think our parents and our, the generation before us would think that in more literal terms like a spirit, or maybe not. Maybe I have to actually talk to them more about how they actually interpret these things.
Right.
But I don't see it as someone like by my side, like an angel necessarily, but the thought and ideas that we live with. Right. So my uncle was a guy that he's very present and always drove with the punches.
Yeah.
So it's like, he's with me in that tough moment when I have that memory of him. You know? I actually got this from a book, Pieces in Every Step by, I never know how to pronounce his name.
That sounds like a fire title. What?
Thich Nhat Hanh.
Pieces.
I hope I'm saying his name right, 'cause I never heard anyone actually pronounce it.
Yeah.
Thich Nhat Hanh, who is a beast book, and in one of the chapters he talks about us dealing with death. But he's like, you have that memory of that person, they're still there. But to me, that broke it down. It was so clear, like, oh, okay. So for me, it shifted the mindset of, because I wasn't sure, like, yo, is my grandma like watching me or whatever? But it's like, oh,
I know exactly that feeling.
I have that memory of that person. I know the values of that person. I know what they would say in this moment. So I'm with that person.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what that means to me, you know? So when it comes to the afterlife, like, I believe my body will be one with the trees, disintegrating into soil and all these other things. The consciousness, I don't know, but I feel like it just, energy goes somewhere.
Energy goes somewhere. I
don't know if it's a different realm, but it could fake just be the ideas that you left.
Yeah. Do you believe in like reincarnation? Do you think that's possible?
I have a take on reincarnation actually.
Yeah, what's your take?
I do believe, like energy neither just, it's not destroyed. It goes
never destroyed, only changed.
Only changed. Forever moving. Well, because some boys believe in this, like, I don't think they call it hell for real, but this idea of hell where it's, you're going lower. At your reincarnation state versus at a higher state, you're going lower because of your bad karma. Right? To me, because I'm not trying to think outside of the present moment, that's a struggle for me, but I try to, be here as much as possible. Mm-hmm. To me, that's saying, whatever thoughts you're feeding yourself is only reoccurring. You could live in this hell. Same thing with Christianity, heaven, hell. Like, to me, it's no longer like after I die, it's what my mindset is on this earth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So in this reincarnation bit, like, my take on it is, or at least, it's not a whole take, but it's a sliver that I like to take.
It's a little idea,
If I keep thinking those negative thoughts, I'm only going to have more negative thoughts and negative actions that happen.
Definitely.
Right? Everybody talks about negative and positive actions. Let me put it more specifically. If I think about, oh man, if I should weigh on those doubts, I'm going to start talking to myself with those doubts. I'm going to start talking to myself in a harsh way. Self-dialogue is very important. I'm going to start acting in the manner that I talk to myself. But I could break that cycle and bring good karma even onto myself. Which in reality, it's just the energy you're putting out. It's cause and effect. You could pretty much break it down like that.
I agree.
It's not just, I did a bad deed to the person, a bad deed's coming back to me. Like, yeah, that's a great way to think about it, to understand the basics of it. Mm-hmm. But literally the karma of me earlier going for that wine was me stealing it. Not any, like, morality assigned to it, just cause and effect.
Cause and effect.
So, yeah.
That's a good take, man. That's a good take. You actually mentioned something that I think is an awesome topic to talk about, which I think we all struggle with. Now, especially with you transitioning into the music space, the idea of being present. Now, that's a big internal battle, right? I think that's one of the hugest, like the biggest internal battle that I know a lot of us face, me included, of trying to stay present. And that's what meditation is supposed to teach you, is about being present, being in that moment, being still and being grateful, gratitude. But there's a part of us that when we are striving for something, we can get lost in the future, what the future might look like, or like future scenarios of what's going to happen, right? because you're gonna release your project soon, right? And you're thinking of different scenarios, who's gonna hear it. How do you kind of hone in being present? Or maybe you do struggle with that, and what is it that you struggle with the most?
I do struggle with being present in that. Maybe not to a crazy degree. Because I try to instill habits to get away from that.
That's a great way to do it.
So even now, which by the time people hear this, the project will be out.
Project's out.
At least we're hoping.
At least we're hoping. Can we get a name for the project though? What's the name?
How I'm doing.
How he's doing. That's what he says.
I'm doing. But it's like even now, like if I post something on Insta, a little promo, because my anxiety is real. Like even in the sense of it could be thinking about the future, you be thinking about that post. But what I try to do now, and which I hope I continue to do, is post and dip.
Yeah.
That's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Notifications off. I don't need and reminding myself like, yo, I'm doing it for me.
Yeah. That's the most important.
That's the most important. And 2, it don't matter who's not listening. It matters who's listening.
Say it again for the people in the back. I don't think they heard you, Shawn.
Yeah.
I don't think they heard you, Shawn.
Yo. It's not about who's not listening. It's about who is. I
think that's just phenomenal, because I think even for me as a podcaster, I get in that too. When I release an episode, who's going to listen? Are people actually listening? I don't know if they're listening or not. But it doesn't matter for the people who aren't listening. The people who actually reply and say, hey, this episode was so awesome. Those are the people that matter. And shout out to you people. I love you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, shout out to everyone.
Shout out to everybody showing love to the pod. But I think that's just a great view, because trying to stay present can be a challenge when you are worried about those different scenarios. And especially social media, because you're back on it now. You've been off social media for so long. So how does that feel? Like it should feel, like what's that pressure like? Because people are kind of like, where you been?
Yeah, it feels fun. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah?
It's fun. I think if you asked me 2 years ago where I fake made a return, but it wasn't really, it was still just this kid Shawn trying to figure out what he wanted to do. But now look at it like, oh, this is just a platform.
Yeah.
I can be as creative as I want with this platform. I'm going to treat myself how I hold myself, in the regard I hold myself. So, if you don't take yourself seriously, no one else will.
Yeah.
So
that's a big important nugget to take in. I hope you people are like taking mental notes, physical notes. It's true.
I'm an artist, and this is a platform. This is a canvas. I'm gonna paint it. Instead of me just throwing up whatever, I have to understand what's post-reflecting on me. What is, and I'm not even talking about you could get into business analytics and shit like that.
Yeah.
Right? Like followers. But I'm not even I'm talking about just when someone clicks my page, what are they seeing?
Yeah. That presence.
Yeah.
The brand.
And so back in the day, I think I had a little more anxiety, ironically enough.
Yeah.
Because it was me just posting things, trying to figure things out, or just me as having a page.
Yeah.
Versus me, it's like, oh nah, Shawn the Sage.
Shawn the Sage.
Just for the purpose. Like here's my work. Because I will say this, being in LA and writing scripts and just hoping to sell them and getting some low key traction here and there. You know what I mean? I was able to I learned a lot of things. And when I reflect on it, things to be proud of, I did put my foot in the door. I did do some things.
Yeah.
But now I'm really betting on self and pardon the language, but putting my nuts on the table.
Yeah.
Not even on some, you know what I mean? Really betting on self and
really putting it all out there.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's only me. So that's how I view music too. So I'm not doing music to abandon screenwriting or nothing like that.
Of course not.
To me, I could use music as much as I love doing it. Me thinking with my brain is I can also use this to leverage my screenwriting.
Yeah.
Here's what I write about. You don't think I can do this? I've had somebody tell me that before too. Like a professor, like, yo, I don't think she was even trying to call me out, but just keeping it real. And like, I respect it because I had to reflect on it and be like, oh, you don't know, but it's not your fault. You don't know.
It's not your fault, yeah.
I ain't putting it on the table. Y'all don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but she, I write about, rapping and whatnot, and she's like, yo, these raps are really good. Can you actually rap? I was like, what do you mean? I told her, like, yeah, I penned these. I was like, oh, you don't think I can actually perform these?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Oh, you don't see me in that light. Okay, bet. So you see me in this light now. So do you see why that's authentic? You see why so you see why music is part of me. So you see why that's in the cinema. So you see why, oh, nah, this guy can do it. Oh, this guy did make that type of video. Okay, I see his taste. Oh, he got talent.
Yeah.
Oh, he can write the story. Mm-hmm. And he can make it authentic to the music.
It all comes full circle.
Full circle. And shout out to people that made a lane before me. You feel me? Like the Donald Glovers of the world.
You are low-key like a Donald Glover. Like you're like able to do so many different like creative outlets, but it all ties into writing.
Animal.
He's an animal, But I think that's I'm not like a writer or screenwriter or a rapper, but I feel like just tapping into those different pockets kind of give you an eclectic view that can mold into something beautiful, right? Especially when you feel confident in it. So I guess my next question is for you really diving in now, your confidence level, how is that feeling? Do you feel like, this is where I'm supposed to be. Like, I feel this. Or are you still feeling like, man, I'm still trying to figure this out, or I'm still trying to find myself a little bit? What is that like for you?
There are times where it's the questioning of self. But when I'm in my true self, there is no question. Like, that's it. And when I'm in the booth, when I'm doing it,
must feel great.
There's no thought, right? So the confidence is just there. And honestly, when I first got back in the booth, there was a little, having to grease the wheels up a little bit, get back into the flow of things, get the muscles pumping.
Yeah.
But then now, I'm just going in for sessions and just, working on the next project. This don't even drop. And just,
bro, it looks like you're having a lot of fun, man.
I'm having so much fun. And it's just growing. I'm like, it's like, oh, I'm going to try this now. The confidence is there now, so you can see in the different like vocal tones and all these things. I'm not even talking about like singing, even though maybe that would try to. Not, I ain't no Jersey foot.
Jersey.
I'm not that. But even just just trying different things, different vocal tones, different personality, different things. Like, yo, what does ad-lib look like? What if I put that sound in here? And confidence. So you step into the booth and like you said, you're having fun.
So are you like building like your process of how you do things now from scratch for the most part? Because this is when you're actually doing it. Like you've made music a little bit before, but this is where you're like actively doing it. So making these processes as you go, is that like what it is for the moment? Like you're still figuring out like formulas of how you do certain things, I guess the better question is, what's your musical process?
Yeah, and that's a good question too. Before that, like I don't think I'm so much figuring it out as much as like I just recently cracked it, and it could change, of course.
Yeah,
but it's me trying new things isn't a result of me trying to figure out the process. It's a result of me figuring out my process. I very much I freestyle at first. I like listening to the beat, like just going off and seeing where the words connect me, where it brings me. So there's an openness to it, but there's still a channel. There's still some I don't want to say restriction, but there's still some boundaries in it to where it's like, one, whenever I'm freestyling, trying to connect it to a theme, finding that theme and then connect and staying with it. But a lot of times just finding that pocket and that rhythm and then letting it do that, letting it flow, letting it happen. And a lot of times the other ideas come. It's crazy. I was just looking at the track list before of how I'm doing, and now it's 6 songs. There was a time it was 9, and then like half of them not on there.
It must be a beautiful thing to see, like kind of where it's been.
Yeah, it was crazy for me because I forgot all about that, bro. Like this shit changes so much, you forget.
You forget
what changed.
But it brought you to that point.
It brought you to that point.
Just like this whole setup that we had to do, man. It's like to get the perfect set. There were so many changes. There were so many adaptions. Oh, do that. Fix it here. And then ultimately you get the final result.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And that's a result of us trying shit.
Yeah. Black box thinking.
Black box thinking. Black box thinking. I hope people would have pen and pad like, yo.
Don't worry, it's in the show notes, baby. You already know.
Did you want some more?
Oh, yeah. Sure, my guy. Appreciate you, bro. You already know. Thank you, sir.
Hit the Biggie D for it.
Yeah. I'm good. This is perfect.
Yeah.
Some type of wine. Gotta sponsor the podcast, man. But
we can strategize after this.
You gotta strategize a little bit. But Shawn, I think it's so awesome to me that you are, going down this music avenue, and you definitely look like you're having a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
So your title interests me a lot because it's called How I'm Doing, right? Mm-hmm. It first started off with This Is How I'm Doing, but now it's How I'm Doing. Yeah. And it almost makes me think about like you kind of coming back from social media where like people didn't really know where you've been, and the title's called like This Is How I'm Doing. It's almost like this is where I've been. So I'm curious to know, like, is that like where you're kind of going with the title? Like, how did the project come about?
So therapist saying, yo, when's the last time you wrote for self? And me saying, okay, I haven't wrote music for myself. And I still had the thought, like, pretty much after, like, I didn't really have the thought, oh, I could just record it and just me listen to it. Mm-hmm. I was like, no, I could record it and put it out. But it could still be, because music is direct, both in how you're creating it and how it's delivered. It's the most authentic I can be in really trying to express myself. And so, it's me talking about a lot of things I'm going through that year. But then also, people haven't heard from me in a long time. So I'm very aware of this, right? Yeah. No one has heard of me.
For a long time. Me in a minute. You've just been like working in the shadows.
Working in the shadows. I like to be low
out of the spotlight and all.
Yeah. Honestly, I took a break from social media where I thought I'd be off it for a long time. I'm just like, I don't need it. Yeah. I only had a thought. You only need it to promote something. That's my thought. Yeah. I have something to promote now. I've been gone for a minute. Knowing who am I catering to? Who are the first ears? People I know. Yeah. People I know.
People you know.
What's the first thing to ask you when you haven't seen somebody in a minute?
How you doing?
How you doing? You want to know honest truth? There you go. Yeah. There you go.
That's awesome, bro. Like,
and that's what makes it at the same time too, right? So even me, as much as it started like, here's me doing my process, here's me getting all of this out. Here's how I'm doing for real. It's like, oh, people can relate to that in the same way. Yeah. Because who's really telling somebody how they're doing? And this whole idea of this project is to be able to acknowledge your emotions and be able to overcome them and not be, not surrender to them.
Yeah. That's a big point that you put out there. Especially the fact that a lot of people really do kind of suppress exactly how they really are doing.
Absolutely.
And from what I've heard, it sounds like a lot of your project is you just literally telling them how you're doing. And from like being in LA, from being back in New York, from like music now, like you're telling them this is how I'm doing and this is what I'm feeling. And a lot of the music that I hear from you is really diving into that emotion. So one of the topics that I like talking about is emotion, right? And how I think growing up, especially as men, we're taught to suppress our emotions and not really be able to express them. So you doing music now, having to tap into emotion, do you find it difficult or is it easier now?
It's easy to write it. I had to learn how to perform it. Because when you're going into the studio, it's your first time meeting an engineer, you're not gonna be able to tap into that record where you cried writing it. You can't. You don't know that. You're not vulnerable enough.
Yeah.
There's a song on here, The Let Go, where it took a lot out of me, like writing it, but it took a lot to get it in the studio.
Yeah.
And it took men's saying, nah, that's not it, bro. You gotta tap in. You gotta tap in. So it was hard for me to even tap in, but that's getting loose in the booth.
Yeah.
To be able to go there. Cause I'm learning it's not about just going in there and spitting bars.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not all about going.
It's not the only thing. That's not the meat and the potatoes.
Bro, it's not. It's a skill set, but it's not what we really listening to music for. And it's like, yo, how you gonna connect with that person?
Yeah.
So, the performance, you have to go there and get there. The Love All freestyle. I had to do this new joint that was just a little more hype, a little more fun to do. I tried to do it. I tried to do it a few takes, and then I was like, nah, I'm not feeling it right now. I gotta do this other shit to get into the rhythm, to get into the groove. And then literally, it was like, yo, we spent maybe 3 hours on that other song. That's gonna be, I'm not gonna give out the title just yet. Well, the next EP, or maybe not, maybe it'll just be a single, but we spent maybe 3 hours working on it and touching different things, trying different things, and seeing what stuck and what didn't. And it was like, oh, yo, we got 10 minutes left in this session, right? We try to be on time, trying to get home.
Yeah.
Another man's coming in. Yo, put that Love All freestyle on.
Oh, man. 10 minutes?
Less.
Oh, man.
Just do the tape.
Because you were already tapped in from the 3 hours you've been working.
Yeah, and I said, yo, I have to do this tonight. I have to do this one. You know? And this is crazy to me, and I'm hype about this because we talked about why I wanted to do this. I guess I just put it on wax.
Yeah.
About doing the interview before the project actually drops. Because I want people how I'm doing. I want people to see this process, to see what it is before the final product.
Yeah.
So by the time they see this, they can go. They probably had their first impression of the songs or whatever. But instead of me talking about that in that context, or questions like how it might be received, it's like, yo, let's just talk about before it's even known.
Before it's even known.
You know, and if for no one else, for us, it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
Right? Listen, like,
I already heard a lot of the songs already.
Bro, but true. But here we are before even just whatever gets attached to it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Whatever attention gets attached to it. Whatever, new aspirations come with it. Whatever disappointments may come with it. We're just in the space of where we're creating out and we're trying it. And we're gonna look back on it and say, yo, we did that.
Yeah. Dude, again, like I say this all the time, like every time like we're around, like you spark that creativity in my mind, and I think creativity can mean so many things. So I'm curious to know what that means for you.
Life.
Yeah.
And not just in the sense of, oh, I'm an artist and I create every day. But like, what is life but creation?
Yeah.
From the inception of it to what we make of our lives.
Yeah.
We make choices.
Every day. Every second.
That's the story. What do you want your life to be? What are you shaping it out to be? That's what I think of creativity. And I especially think of creativity being able to do that in spaces where you are restricted. Because whether we chose this life and forgot that we chose this life or whatever, or is that all that random, we are in this perspective. And that's our constraint. But with constraint comes the ability to be creative. It gives you discipline. It gives you, maybe discipline's not the right word. I think of it discipline because it gives you this structure.
Yeah.
It gives you this channel. It makes me think back to Miss Greenberg's 11th grade. Shawn Greenberg. We might have talked about this on episode 10 too.
Probably, because Miss Greenberg is like a huge, I feel like she's like a big part in the start of your journey.
She is, and it's crazy to reflect on it, and I'm realizing even more and more how much it actually was. Because it wasn't until literally like maybe 2 nights ago, I'm brushing my teeth, and the thought came up to me like, yo, in the same way I like to listen to beats and find a pocket and let it freestyle, that's a small constraint that I put on myself. And maybe it made me think back to that first creative writing assignment. Here's a picture. Write a story off this picture. I had a woman drinking an iced tea. I was able to flip into a crazy story about some love affair. But it's like, oh, okay, I'm done with that constraint. USC applications, they give you a scenario. Write this scene in a scenario. That's a constraint. You could be super creative with it. You trapped. I'm like fake shit to say. I don't know if that's some violation. Like, yo, that's on the app. You know, it's fake on the app every year. So I don't want to get in.
But they're gonna see you.
Yo, Shawn, secrets. Gotta find you some more money, man. But
yeah,
no. But
oh man.
But the constraint comes creativity.
Yeah.
Being back home, I don't got the biggest budget. I got my budget. I'm working to do shit myself, and I'm able to have pockets of great resources, but also, I have to be resourceful.
Yeah.
But from that comes creativity. Make do with what you got.
I feel like that's so important. Because I know, for me, right, of course, I feel like I want to know, like, the all-knowing, right? And a lot of times, you're always kind of getting high off the next book. Like, oh, this book is good. Oh, I need the next book. I need the next book. But a lot of what you need is right here. You don't really need another book. You don't need a new meditation technique.
Yeah.
You know, everything, like you said, resourceful, like you kind of you play with the ashes. What do you have in your room? And you make what you need with it. And I think that's just a beautiful concept when it comes to like creativity, where sometimes people feel like, oh, I need acrylic paint. I can't use watercolor paint. But no, somebody who's really good with watercolor paint can make a beautiful portrait and they don't need acrylic.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like whatever you have in front of you is exactly, you can make whatever you want out of it. You know?
Yeah.
I think it's just a beautiful concept because I know it's easy to just want to search for more. But a lot of what you're searching for, you already have. And you don't really need it, you know? Bro, Man, life could be really insane in the lessons that it teaches you. And I think one of the things for me when it comes to creativity is just letting your mind be able to go in areas that you didn't think it would be able to go in, and letting it expand in that way, and just having fun with it, like you said, it doesn't have to be like an artist, like literally, like you do Muay Thai. That's creative to me.
It is creative.
Like that's a creative element to me because you're doing something that is not normally something that like we would do, right? And you're just expanding that because you can, like you do music, but I've done music a little bit just to do it.
So it's natural thing.
Just to be natural, and I think creativity just allows you to just be as free and as flowing as you want to be. And it is like life, because that's how life should be. Free. Like not worrying about what other people think of your art. Because your art is your art at the end of the day. It doesn't matter what this person thinks. It doesn't matter what this person thinks. As long as you're happy with what you're putting out, then you won.
Facts. When I say facts, that's reminders I have to tell myself.
Yeah. Dude. I think it's just so beautiful how this thing all happened, right? Because I believe in the universe and how it works and how it does these things.
Yeah.
And for this episode to be done right now, for starters, we've been trying to do this episode for so long.
Oh, wow.
we've been trying, Shawn's been making the music and, trying to come up with release dates and all that stuff. And we, as brothers, we're helping each other out. Like we want to talk about the music. We want to talk about it on the podcast. And we've been like trying to get it going. And for it not to work the first time we tried and for it to happen now is why I believe in what the universe is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the way it kind of like laid out, like you coming here at the perfect time and your music coming out and you were excited and like with the music. I think it couldn't have been a better time. And I believe the universe had a big part in that.
Or the alignment is crazy.
So Otto, I really want to know how excited you are to release this music. On a scale of like excited and stressed, like where are we at on the scale?
1 to 10?
Yeah.
Just excited and stressed, 1 to 10. Excited, I would say 8.
8, okay.
Solid 8. Scared, 2.
Okay.
If I'm being realistic.
Yeah.
Because there are the thoughts that pop up.
Of course. It's a normal thing.
But 2 is low enough for me to know I know the truth.
Yeah.
I have nothing to be scared about. Right? They're not just saying that I believe in the project, or maybe to say I believe in the project because, like you said, it doesn't matter.
Right.
I put it out. Stressed. I have been stressed, man. I've been like.
As you've been doing music videos, you've been recording, you've been working on the promos, you've been working on the shots, you've been directing it all, like a lot.
Yeah, man, it's been a lot. And I really needed to step up, like, even this trip, even though we've been up to 25 hours and working, at least it's been, like, all creative work.
Yeah.
Versus, like, creative work and balancing real life.
Mm.
Balancing work, balancing Muay Thai, balancing family stuff. and even the creative stuff in alone is a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's been stressful, but it's been fun, man. So like even the most stressful times, I still find joy in it. So stress, I'm gonna say 6. I wouldn't even say stress to release the project because it's just like the stress of having to get things done. I'm just, but in terms of the actual release, I'm not stressing anything about. Like I'm not really scared of what's gonna happen.
That's a good mindset.
Yeah, I'm just more so stressed of the actual labor.
Yeah.
But I'm excited, man. And the only reason I'm not a 10 for excitement is because I'm already thinking about the next.
You're on the next.
So like I took the 2 away from 10 because that 2 went towards this next one.
Towards the next excitement.
But this one, this one's gonna be the one. Like,
yeah. I mean, from what you told me, man, you definitely got it mapped out, and I think it's important that way. I feel like it relieves the stress of like, I guess, future thinking in a way. And man, I think I'm just excited. I can't wait for people to hear it. And, like, so going off of the track list, right? We got FAQ, we got Ego Rap. So these songs.
You haven't even heard the skits yet, that's the thing.
Man.
You haven't even heard the skits yet.
I haven't heard the skits yet.
That's organic too.
I'm super excited about the project. Mm-hmm. And with this project that you got coming out, you're rolling it out and you're promoting it through social media, mm-hmm. right? That's your main outlet. Mm-hmm. Now, promoting a project is fairly new. So how are you like learning that process? Like, how are you?
I've never stepped away from the game completely. I haven't been putting out music, but I watch moves. And not to say I know everything, but
right.
Like the idea of a rollout is like, okay, here's how I want to roll my thing out. Here's how I believe rollout should happen.
Right.
Here's how I feel like it fits into my brand.
Mm-hmm.
The rollout is art in itself.
It is.
And so I've seen people, how do I say that? Let me say it like, there are people who may just put something out and put it out and not put too much thought in the rollout. And there's value in that in like just because it helps ground you more in the art itself. Because you're not caught up in the politics of it. But it's your art and you should roll it out in a certain way. You should take care of rolling it out.
There's a way, the way you believe that it should be done.
Yeah, and that can be fun too. Like it's fun
figuring that out.
Things. You know what I mean? It's fun figuring it out. Like, okay, here's this little piece of content that I'm gonna create that fits me. Here's this this EP that I know is gonna drop soon. What do I want to say but pull from the project? And a lot of it is like I have ideas even before I finish recording it in terms of like knowing how I'm gonna roll it out.
Right.
But then there's things along the way that's like it tweaks. It's like, oh, that would be better. Oh, that would be cool. Oh, that's actually a cool photo. That's a cool little vid. To the first pic that I got posted to the Insta to let people know what type of time I'm on. Even though they might not have joined the connection, they see a mic there. Yeah. It's in the bio.
Hey,
I hope you got it from that, right? But whatever. Maybe you didn't. That's cool. It's a little clips that like, oh, this is in the vid that y'all don't even know is coming in. And it's so far away from that vid that it's gonna shock when you see the vid, you're not even thinking about that clip. You're gonna see that clip like, oh wow.
And it's gonna bring it back.
And it's gonna be, and then for you it's gonna be like, oh wow, he was thinking about this the whole time. And then it's gonna be, and if you didn't see that early on, that's fine. If you like it, you like it, and you go on board, you with the ship, and we gonna sail with you, gonna get you there safely. But if you was there when we was building the shit, you extra, yo, I saw him.
You got the details.
You get the details. I see, oh, he dropped it. Oh, I like that. That's cool. It's studied. I don't drop nothing. Lucy is a Lucy, but it ain't a Lucy. You feel me? Like,
yeah. Oh man.
it's a Lucy, but it's not just a Lucy.
Oh, that song was so great. It's always ringing in my ears, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man.
Of course. Listen, brother, I've been a fan of all your work. When you were a fiction writer, screenwriter.
Yo, you read all them joints, bro.
You always sent me something. I always read it. Maybe not on time because you always had edits. And I had to wait for like the 5th edit before I could fully read it.
Yeah.
But always, man. I low-key have them all in the archive. So like when you become famous, I could sell them.
Nah, yo, do that.
Leak them. Man, Shawn, this episode has been awesome. I can't believe we recorded this episode right now. It's been so much fun, man. Shawn, I'm honestly so grateful, like, to be able to call you really like my soul brother, you know, because we get to connect on a level that, like, this conversation could have been had off mic, on camera, off camera. This is just a regular conversation between us normally. You know, we just decided to put a mic in front of us and a camera on us, you know. But this is just one of the biggest things that I appreciate about you. I think the music that you got going for you is amazing, and I'm happy that you're happy about it. And, you know, I know people are going to be excited to hear it. So for those people that you want to hear it, and you back on social media, so plug yourself. Where can they find you when it drops? Like, where can they tap into the music?
Shawn the Sage, Instagram, website, link in Instagram, YouTube. Thank you. Shawn the Sage.
Shawn the Sage. It's gonna be in the show notes.
Spotify, Amazon, whatever.
Spotify, Amazon, Apple, you name
all
it.
the 30 digital streamers out there.
All of the streamers out
there.
there.
That one person that's on Shakalaka or whatever. But it's there. It's there.
It's all there. Shawn, I'm so grateful that you took the time to come over here for a little vacation. You know what I mean? In Sunshine State, Florida. All right, shout out to Florida because I'm brand new, but you know, New York is the home. You know, NY stand up. But it's a pleasure, man. I'm glad that you were my first in-person guest. You know, it had to be that way. You know, thank you for coming up with the idea for recording this, because I think it's a beautiful way to just expand and just be able to be creative, like we were talking about. Because this whole process of setting up the camera, setting up the lights, and getting this perfect moment was so much fun. It was a little stressful because we weren't getting the results we wanted, but when we finally got it, it feels so good. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
And this journey has been awesome. I'm happy for your journey. I'm excited for your journey. I can't wait to hear the project fully, you know, from straight to finish. You know, man, it's been a pleasure, Shawn. So, any advice you have for someone who is actually also getting into the pocket of making music, what words of advice or words of wisdom you would give them?
Follow your instinct. Stay true to yourself. And don't block your shine. Don't block your shine.
Drop the mic. That's it. Boom. Shawn, brother, I love you.
Love you.
From the bottom of my heart, bro. On everything I love. It's been an awesome episode. Again, if you guys have not seen our first episode together, episode 10, go check it out. But this episode was amazing. You know, we did this recorded live. We went with the punches. We had a good time.
It's crazy. It's over already, bro.
Bro, we could go on for days. I mean, this is not gonna be the last time you're on the show. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those moments in time that we're documenting, and it's a beautiful moment that we just created right now. And it was just both of our minds creating this moment at this time, you know? And I just appreciate you for that, bro, on everything.
Appreciate you for having me on, man.
Yeah, man. Of course,
and
man.
I love what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Bro, be true to yourself, man.
Yeah.
And put your message out to the world.
That's what we doing.
Yeah.
That's all we doing. Man. But for all of you guys listening, if you are not watching the video and you're just listening to the audio, I appreciate you for tuning in. For those who are watching the video, I appreciate you guys for being here with me and Shawn the Sage today. Man, this episode was so awesome. It was a lot of fun. And this is just what we do. Creating is an outlet. It's allowing yourself to be free. It's allowing yourself to just have a moment in time and documenting this moment with the people that you care about. You know, and this moment, I appreciate it. And I don't care who watches, who listens. This moment is for those who want to listen and want to get the golden nuggets and want to grow and become close to themselves. Because the internal battle is a battle between you and you. So just be you so that there are no battles. You know what I mean? So thank you so much for listening. I hope you had an amazing day. I hope whether it's raining outside, it doesn't matter if it's sunny outside. It is a beautiful day because the universe and Mother Nature does their best to make it a beautiful day. That's just how it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Shawn the Sage, thank you so much for coming on the show. I had a blast. This was awesome. You guys are awesome. And yeah, enjoy the show.
Bitch, I'm coolin' now. 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 Bitch, I'm coolin' now.